Please talk to us about the primary goals and objectives when you started FIIDS.
As you know that Indian American are about 5.1 million and significantly contributing in US in terms of economy. What are the policy issues are relevant to the Indian Americans and rare earth materials or the critical minerals, which we were the first one probably to raise that issue in the Congress in 2020.
FIIDS is a big proponent of like youth empowerment and youth engagement. Tell us about some of the initiatives that you have.
Indian American youth needs to be participating in all walks of US life. They need to be serving the nation.
Talk to us about the Capitol Hill Day and what are some of the policies that we are going to discuss with the elected officials.
So on June 23rd, Tuesday, we are hosting a Capitol Hill Day in US Capitol. We are also extending that to cover the IMEC, that is the India Middle East Corridor, which is
Hi Khanderao ji, thank you so much for joining Gold Media today. Looking forward to talk to you, your interesting journey with FIIDS, which is Foundation for India and Indian Diaspora. Looking forward to hear some of the amazing work that you are doing through this nonprofit. So welcome again to Gold Media.
thank you, Supriya, for giving us this wonderful opportunity, and let's have a discussion.
Absolutely. So, Khanderao ji, to start with, for our viewers to know more about FIIDS, please talk to us about the primary goals and objectives that you had in mind when you started FIIDS.
Okay. As you know that Indian American are about 5.1 million and significantly contributing in US in terms of economy, technology, healthcare, and various fields. However, when I visit Washington DC, I didn't see a kind of Indian American voice over there or issues getting represented in that. And when we are here contributing in the economy and the progress of the country, we need to have our own policies, views reflected, as well as, of course, when community growing, there are concerns, there are issues that also need to be surfaced. So that's why Foundation for India, Indian Diaspora Studies, essentially formulated to first thing that study what are the policy issues are there, what are the policy issues are relevant to the Indian Americans, and how do you present it to the those for those whom this matters, or it could be elected officials, it could be think tanks, it could be administration. So in all these different forums to present our views and our various policy issues. So that's the main focus of FIIDS.
Thanks for sharing that. So, what are some of the policies that you advocate when you work with these elected officials, and what kind of impact are you expecting?
Yeah, a very good question. So there are different aspects, and starting from, let's say, when it comes to Indian Americans, the issues are typically could be immigration related, which is the one of the most common issue that come, but also Indian American. The education related could be there, business related could be there, and medical practices. A lot of professionals are in the medical practices are there. As well as the in the education segment or in the society interaction. But when it comes to U.S. Policies at the world stage, we have interest about the US and the world security in the Indo-Pacific region. It could be supply chain resiliency or the maritime security. So that's one of the aspects. We also have been talking for last few years, in fact, on the rare earth materials or the critical minerals, which we were the first one probably to raise that issue in the Congress in 2024. where most of them they're not even much concerned about that, but that issue became very, very important from 2025. But we were much more concerned about the since I'm personally in the technology background, I know the how much critical minerals are important from the
Yeah.
semiconductor or EV or the space or the defense and all other thing. And then US does not have a reserve to or the capacity to protect its interest on the long term. So we had been raising about that. We also are very much working on U.S. India partnership. Both the countries consider that this partnership is one of the most consequential relations in the 21st century. For decades, we have been working on the betterment of the it's not about the relation, but how US and India can work together on the world stage on various aspects, from policy to security to prosperity to climate change. So those are the aspects definitely we do cover. So we have wider topics, and Indian Americans, of course, had the viewpoints on many other topics, but we try to shortlist the topics which we can effectively present based on the congressional priorities as well as our own capacity.
Thanks for sharing that. So, we know that you talked about the India US relationship. We know we've been in discussion about the trade tariff since February of 2026, probably this year. What is your read on the current situation and how this is going to finally settle for good?
So I think U.S. India trade relations that issue has been going on. That's right, but it's mostly what I heard from various signals from both the countries that it is mostly settled. It is in fact very close to get finalized. A very higher level tentative announcement was also done by President Trump a few months back. It's not, but however, it's not in a contract. They are still working on probably some of the. I'm not sure that there are still pending issues, because I think that there is a delegation right now from US this week, I think, visiting to India, and I hope that it will get finalized. In between, of course, there have been a lot of other things, because US Supreme Court also had view on that and given the rulings into. So there is a period of uncertainty in US itself. I think once it is out, and that probably the administration also has been very much occupied on the issues related to Middle East and all other thing, but now it is also getting settled. I'm sure that US-India trade deal will get finalized very soon.
We hope so too. FIIDS has a big proponent of like youth empowerment and youth engagement. Talk to us about some of the initiatives that you have, and what are some of the benefits that the younger generation can really reap from an organization like this.
Yeah, so very good question. That Indian American youth needs to be participating in all walks of U.S. Life. They need to be serving the nation in the best of their abilities, and then one of the most important is in the segment of policies or political leadership or administration. So typically, Indian American pursue careers like say medical and legal professionals and
Yeah.
engineers and this one. So we have been there for some time and definitely have shown a good impact. But the area that really matters for the larger audience, not just from the Indian American point of view, but the US and the global, is the policies. And that is something that we have been working towards cultivating some of the capabilities in Indian youths. So we host annual summer internship program, which is a structured internship program called certificate program in civic engagement and leadership. It's a very unique program. It's instructor led, plus some experts and guest speakers that we bring it over there. In 10 weeks, they get to know about the lawmakers, to think tanks, the policy works and media, a lot of hands-on exercise, so to cultivate some leadership into that. We also work towards congressional internship. So those who are interested in some of the policy studies, they actually get engaged into the think tank work. For them, FIIDS organize congressional internship programs. So some of Indian American youths get placed through this program within the Congress as interns, in summer interns or even in the fall. We have some additional programs towards the media internship, as well as that we talked about. And then we also in the think tank specific, getting involved into the policies and make the position paper, study the different policies, conduct the surveys. So that way youths would be active into this policy, sir. Of course, one of the program that we try to cultivate is the some youths may be interested in active in future political process. So to get some exposure to that, encourage them to participate in the campaigns or the those related activities, which could be social media or active this one. So for us, we are a bipartisan organization, so we are not really into taking the stand onto that, but we want to make sure that Indian Americans do participate into this one. So I covered certain segment of the work, but we also work with youths to get them engaged into other type of activities also. It could be entrepreneurial, it could be other type of the leadership also.
Very interesting. And what would be the best way for anybody to connect with FIIDS?
So FIIDS website is FIIDS-USA.org, and so that way one can connect. Of course, we have Twitter handle FIIDS USA, where people can get our information, can subscribe to our email list, and be active. I think we have a lot of volunteering opportunities, leadership opportunities, so we welcome all contributions.
Absolutely. And Khanderao ji, lastly, talk to us about the Capitol Hill Day and what are some of the policies that we are going to discuss with the elected officials.
So on June 23rd, Tuesday, we are hosting a Capitol Hill Day in U.S. Capitol. This is our one of the most important program that FIIDS annually host for last many years, where Indian Americans all over USA, they come to USA in the US Capitol and meet their representative and the representative from their states. In those meetings, the short 30 minutes meeting, each meeting that discuss about the policy issues which are important to us, whatever the topics of that particular year. And we have very good discussions and seek their opinion, seek their support. In the past, like last year, we had about 150 delegates from 22 different states meeting 120 elected officials from 35 different states. And these delegates had a very good representation from both the women and also youth. So this has been becoming a very popular program, because this gives an important opportunity for community to discuss our issues. In these particular issues here, we are talking about the 5 key categories. One is that Indo-Pacific region and the supply chain and maritime security. We are also extending that to cover the IMEC, that is the India Middle East corridor, which is alternate supply chain route to Suez, considering the current state of Hormuz issues and etc. We need to make sure that the supply chain routes are alternate routes are also there. So IMEC issues that we are talking. We are discussing U.S. India partnership on various segments, including defense and technology and critical minerals. Then the next topic is the critical minerals itself, the processing, research and development, and how to make sure that US establish a good consistent support for critical minerals, not just for now but in the future too. So that we are talking about that. And 2 more issues are related to Indian American diaspora itself. The one is about the immigration, and the second is about on the immigration. We typically have been talking about the green card backlog delays, 7% country-wise cap. Then youths, Indian Americans over here, rather the Indian origin youths whose parents are still waiting for green card. Even
Yeah.
after decades, they get backlogged, and then at the age of 21 their legal status, they are no more dependent on parents, and then they
Yeah.
don't have legal status. So those are the issues. This particular year we are also raising the issue related to H1B appointment delays, or the pause happened in the consulates in India.
Mm-hmm.
That has created not only the hardship to the to H1B holders, but also disrupted the industry. We are also going to surface or look at the other issues related to just now the some of the policies on the green card, etc. So that is one of the prominent topic. And then finally, as when I started this discussion, so Indian Americans are making huge impact in USA. We are population wise, we are just 1% of population, but making a 5 to 6% of the tax contribution. There are
Yeah.
50 to I think 60% of now smaller hotels are Indian owned, and
Yeah.
they actually in that industry they provide lot of employment. That plus medical professionals. Even if you go to the remote part of USA, you will see that Indian doctors over there. So medical professionals also, almost like 1 million doctors, physicians are here contributing. They serving American people as well as contributing to the economy.
Mm-hmm.
There are small business owners. There are a huge number of business owners are there, whether 7-Eleven or some say Dunkin' Donuts or something that is there. In
Mm-hmm.
agriculture, like California and to Washington, Oregon. So that belt agriculture is also Indian Americans are in the industry. So if you see that, and more than that, I've been from Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So the tech industry is the heavily contributed by Indian Americans, not only by the being professionals but also leadership level. And there Indian at least 1 out of 4 startup, you will see that Indian American is a co-founder. There are patent holders and research and R&D contributed in the universities also. So huge contribution that Indian Americans are actually doing in this country. However, despite that, there has been very negative biases, incidences, etc., unwelcoming comments are not only at the top level
Yeah.
in the online segment, but also it's coming, like say, for example, one town in Texas, or there was a hearing that Indian Americans buying so many houses and they are coming over here. Even the legitimate contributing peace-loving communities kind of getting subjected to such type of a bias incidences. So that also we would like to surface to the elected officials that they need to take the note of this one and try to create a positive atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much, Khanderao ji, for sharing the valuable insights about what you stand for, and uh, having the FIIDS type of platform so that everybody can have a voice. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us today with Gold Media, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Supriya and Gold Media, for interviewing and surfacing all these issues. I hope that your the audience would find this important enough, the cause interesting. Also, some of them participate if they want to participate. Of course, our website is FIIDS-USA.org, and looking forward some of them to come to Washington DC on June 23rd.
I will be there for sure, and good luck with FIIDS.
Thank you.
Thank you.